Good morning, you beautiful English learners. What's happening? So, this is a very short tutorial for my next session of The Chats. The Chats, as you may know, is a kind of like informal get together with myself and other English learners where we discuss a particular topic. It's not like formal teaching. I save my formal teaching and my formal tutorials and more specific shit like that for my courses. This is like a bi-weekly membership thing. A bi-weekly is twice a month. We get together 2 times a month and we have a good chat in English. So, the next topic that we are going to be discussing in the chats is the lottery. And the lottery is a very fascinating thing, a very, very interesting thing. And we're going to have a look at some of the materials connected to this week's session of the chats. So, first of all, there is a workbook and 3 news stories to read. But we're going to start with this one here because, winning the lottery can obviously be incredibly positive or incredibly negative. It just depends. And let's take a look at this one here. So this is Reddit, a very popular website, a great place for you to learn English, to practice your English, essentially. And my favorite subreddit, as it's called, is Ask Reddit, where people post questions and other people post answers. So this question here, have you ever actually met or do you know somebody who has won the lottery? What happened to them? And I love this very first answer. My MIL, mother-in-law. She won 33,000 on a scratch off. She paid off some debt, got new windows installed in her house. The new windows in an 1890s farmhouse are amazing. Don't think I've ever seen a happier woman. Now that is incredibly positive. That is a very good example of winning the lottery and how it can be used for good. So a scratch off, if you're wondering, is like a little card you buy. And you can buy those in the gas station here in Canada. You can buy those anywhere in the USA, basically. And the idea is you get it and you scratch and you scratch and you scratch. And maybe you win something, maybe you don't. A lot of people, like one of my buddies worked in a corner shop back in Ireland. And every Friday, this guy would come in and he would spend about €1,000 every Friday on scratch offs. Now we call them scratch cards, but he would spend that much money every week. So about 52 grand a year is what he would spend on scratch offs. That is obviously an addiction, and a very, very sad one at that too. But this is the thing, this woman won 33,000. So what would you do at 33 grand? What would you do at 33k? And she paid off debt, got new windows, and she lives in an 1890s farmhouse. So that's a farmhouse from the 1890s. Don't think I've seen a happier woman. Love that. Moving on. Friends of ours won 30 mil. 30 mil is short for million. And million is uncountables. We wouldn't say millions, which I know a lot of other languages do, but it'd be 30 million. So our friends of ours won 30 million, took a group of us on vacation, bought a cottage, built a house, nothing much changed. Beautiful. So they stayed grounded. They stayed down to earth, which is what you want. That is exactly what you want from winning that much. Now, 30 mil is like fuck you money, in my opinion. Fuck you money. Fuck you money is a slang term we use when you have so much money, you can tell people to fuck off. You have so much money, it doesn't matter how much something costs, you can buy it. Because let's be honest, 30 mil can practically buy you anything these days. Now, if you're not careful, you can blow through that. To blow through 30 mil, and that would be to spend all the money. And speaking of, let's look at this one. 2 people, actually. One was a friend of mine in high school who won 15k on a scratch and win. Scratch and win, scratch card, scratch off, many different names, all the same thing. She rented a house downtown through a party. Somebody said I should stop by and check in on her because they'd been down to her party and hardly recognized anybody. That's a problem. That often happens when somebody wins the lottery. When somebody wins the lottery, everyone comes out of the woodwork. Suddenly you're the most popular person in town. To come out of the woodwork, that is a beautiful English idiom. And we use that. Let me just type it in for you. To come out of the woodwork, unpleasant person emerge from obscurity or be revealed. So suddenly, Suddenly, you're very popular. Suddenly, all these people come out of the woodwork, but they're not really your friends. All right? I got there. My friend met me on the door, put way too much money in my hands, and told me to go get a bottle of wine. She partied with whoever was around until it was all gone. Took about 3 weeks. So this person's friend won $15,000, and within 3 weeks, she had blown through it all. Now, that would be a great 3 weeks. That would be one heck of a memory if you remember any of it. But in 3 weeks, she lost all her money. In 3 weeks, she blew through her money. That is devastating. In my eyes, that's devastating. That's a lot of money to blow through. I mean, those must have been lavish parties. Let's be honest. Now, stop by would be to call over and check a person. To call over to someone. Check in on is just to make sure a person is doing well. Oh, I better go check in on somebody. So to check in on your neighbours. Last year in Canada, the temperatures rose like rapidly. And in that time, it's very important to check in on your neighbours, especially your elderly neighbours or your vulnerable neighbours. You go knock on the door, see if they're okay, see if they're still alive, for instance. Now, this one here. Next, a friend of mine from Toronto who was... Toronto. Notice how I pronounce it like a local. Toronto. We don't pronounce the T at the end. Toronto, who is mostly known for doing zombie walks. She won a cash for life dealio. And I think it's around $10,000 a month. She bought a Thurman and started making 50-style monster movies and is generally living a high-rolling rockabilly lifestyle. I love that collocation of English. A high-rolling rockabilly lifestyle. Rockabilly. Is there any way I can describe? Rock and roll music, early 1950s. So what is an example of rockabilly? You're just living a fucking good life, essentially. This is rockabilly, and this person's friend is living that type of lifestyle, which I got great respect for. Doing zombie walks. Have you ever done a zombie walk? Have you ever heard of a zombie walk? A zombie walk is a thing where a bunch of people get together and dress up and walk like zombies down the street. It looks like a lot of fun. I have seen one of these before, and to be fair, if you're not familiar with it, it might be pretty scary, because maybe you think zombies are real and zombies are all around us. So yeah, zombie walk, very creative thing. So this person won, in my opinion, what might be better than winning a huge lump sum will be a cash for life. Cash for life. And so every month, this person gets $10,000. That is nice. $520K a year, $500,000 a year basically. Now obviously you take taxes out, but I feel that's a lot of money that you could live a very good lifestyle but not go too overboard, you know? That's the other side of it too. You're not going to lose the run of yourself. You're not going to go crazy. Moving on. My neighbour won the lottery in his 60s. 1.2 mil in the late 90s, so obviously the money would go very far back then. We lived in a trailer park in the rural part of the USA, a pretty low cost of living area, so the money stretched pretty far. Another great collocation to stretch money. If you can stretch money, that means you get good value for money. You're frugal in a way that, like, you know, you can find the best deals and you can get more stuff for $10 than the average person because you're savvy with money. You're able to stretch money. He bought his trailer and land outright with the money and pretty much just spent every day drinking on his porch and yelling at his goats. IIRC, he used a good chunk of what he won to put his son and grandkids through college. Died of liver failure at 85 or something. Not a terrible way to do it, all said and done. IIRC. If I recall correctly. There we go. If I remember correctly. I'll be honest, that's something that I wasn't too familiar with. Until now. And I see it online all the time, and I was always wondering, what the heck does IIRC mean? If I recall correctly. That's a beautiful phrase. Write that shit down. So, I like this story a lot. I like it a lot. Now, he lives in a trailer park. A trailer park, I'll show you a picture of a trailer park. Trailer park is like something like this, where people live in trailers, and this is a fancy trailer park here. And they come in all different forms, different shapes, different sizes, different quality, essentially. And all of these are examples of trailer parks, what you see on the screen now. Now, in Ireland, we do not have trailer parks. Not too common anyways, because the weather does not really allow for it. But in Canada, it's more common than you'd think. And it's not really a taboo to live in a trailer park by any means at all. So they lived in a low cost of living area, so the money would go further, which is nice. And he would spend every day drinking on his porch and yelling at goats. That is a very good life. I would love to live that lifestyle. Imagine waking up and your only job is to shout at goats. God, sign me up. But what I really appreciate about it is he put his son and grandkids through college. So in the US, I'm presuming this is the US because it is, a rural part of the US. It is the US. In the USA, it's very expensive to go to college or university. And usually people graduate with debt, a lot of debt, like a huge amount of debt. But if you can get someone to pay for it, or you can get a scholarship, you can go to university and you don't pay, and you can graduate debt-free. Graduate without debt, which is massive in the United States of America. This person won so much money that they were able to live the life they wanted and fund their children, his child and grandkids through college. That would be tuition fees, textbooks, because textbooks are a fortune in college and university. It could be the day-to-day living expenses and rent. All of those combined can add up to a hefty price. But this person was able to put them through college, so to put through something. If someone puts you through college, they pay for your college education. They pay for everything connected to it. Died of liver failure. So liver failure is, well, self-explanatory. Your liver stops working. Your liver is incredibly important. You can survive on half a liver. Did you know that? But quite common for people who drink a lot to have liver problems or liver failure. So, and look at that one there. I like that he was content with the trailer. I agree. They don't want to change their lifestyle too much. And all the stories we've read, apart from this one here with the 15K in 3 weeks? 3 weeks, not even 3 months. Holy shit. 3 weeks. That's all positive ones. All right. Here's one of my favorite ones here. I know a welder who won a 30 mil jackpot. He retired, bought 2 Ford GTs, spent his time doing yard work, playing low stakes poker tournaments and raising his 2 young kids. His wife bought a crib for me, used for their second child. That to me is one of the best. And I had to actually Google what a Ford GT is. It's a sports car, baby. So he bought 2 sports cars, which I love, because obviously that was just that's like a boyhood dream, I guess, or something. He wins the lottery and he's like, I'm buying sports cars. I'm buying 2 sports cars, 2 different colors or something. So mad respect to that. But it seems they're very grounded. Spends his time doing yard work, trimming bushes, cutting grass, making pathways or something like that. Playing low stakes poker, high stakes, low stakes. Low stakes poker is when you play poker, but you don't have to put a lot of money into the pot to get your cards. And raising his 2 young kids. Love it. His wife bought a crib for me, used for the second child. That is just absolutely beautiful. She bought a crib. A crib is what a child will sleep in. But despite the fact that they've so much money, they're still being savvy, they're still being frugal, and they're still buying used. And I, for one, am all about buying used. I rarely buy new things anymore. It depends on what I'm buying, obviously. Shoes. Anything between me and the ground I'll spend money on, like a bed or shoes or something along those lines. But otherwise, it's alright. I don't mind buying used, to be honest. I thought that was a beautiful one. So a lot of these are positive. So your job would be to go through this, find some more comments that are interesting, maybe find some new English or something like that. There's a lot of random English to be learned, a lot of random collocations to be learned in shit like this. But now, this is where it changes a little bit. And this is the one that really inspired me. 5 happiest words you could hear. You just won the lottery. And Blake Class gives a masterclass on what to do if you win the lottery and why it's not good. Congratulations, you just won millions of dollars in the lottery. That's great, you're fucked. No, really, you are. You're fucked. You're absolutely fucked. I love it. This guy goes through, he's obviously thought about it a lot. Whoever Blake Class is has obviously thought about it a lot and gone through everything. Large jackpot winners face double-digit multiples of probability versus the general population to be victim of homicide, drug overdose, bankruptcy, kidnapping. So you are 20 times more likely to die of homicide. Homicide is murder if you win a large jackpot. You are more likely to die of a drug overdose if you win a jackpot. To go bankrupt, which happens so freaking much. To go bankrupt. To go bankrupt is when you run out of money. And it does happen. It does happen where people who win 100 million lose everything in the space of a couple of years. And that's why the lottery does kind of scare me, I'll be honest. It gives me the heebie-jeebies at times. And kidnapping, of course kidnapping. Someone's going to kidnap you for a ransom. But this one is even more scary. Triple-digit multiples of probability versus the general population. Drunk driving, that's one. Number 2, terrifying, absolutely terrifying. The victim of homicide at the hands of a family member. 120 times more likely. 120 times more likely to die at the hands of a family member if you win a large jackpot. How fucked is that? That is absolutely terrifying. Let that sink in for a moment. You win a large jackpot. You versus the general population, you're 120 times more likely to die from homicide from a family member. That's fucked up. Then, you go through reading this and this guy gives so many examples. So many examples. And go through some of these. Let's see. Victoria Zell, 11 million, 2001, Minnesota. As of 2006, broke. Broke is no money. I am broke. You are broke. We use it in humorous ways where, in college I was broke. I had no money. I obviously had money to buy food and stuff. But in this case here, Victoria Zell, broke. Serving 7 years in jail for vehicle manslaughter. Susan Mullins, 4.2 million, Virginia, 1993. 2004, nothing. Sheffic Tamlich, 6.7 million, 1988. 2005, bankrupt. Michael Klingbeil, 2 million as of 1998, sued by his own mother. Thanks, Mom. Claiming he failed to share the jackpot. Janet Lee, 18 mil, 93, Missouri, 2001, bankrupt with $700. My God. Scary. However, Blake Class goes on to educate us all about what to do if you are unlucky enough to win the lottery. Now, I'll take my chances with being unlucky. That's just me. But go through this. 1, immediately retain an attorney. And what I like about this is a national firm, like a reputable company. Don't get a junior partner. Get like someone who's really well known. Don't trust someone from your hometown. Get someone unconnected. Decide to take the lump sum. That is true. That is a very interesting one. Sometimes lotteries will give you a choice to take it all at once or to take it in drips and drabs, like to drip feed it to you, take it all at once, he says. And then you go through it all. Decide right now how much you want to give to your family and friends. Very true. I would love to think I'd be able to give my family a couple of mil each or something like that. And this guy just goes through everything you should do if you win the lottery. Folks, give this a read. It is absolutely fantastic. Go to Vegas. I love that. I would absolutely go to Vegas. 100%. But you want to be very grounded and down to earth. So, what do you need to do, folks? Well, one thing I would recommend is downloading the workbook, which is this one here. And this is an old podcast I made many moons ago. And it just goes through winning the lottery, some facts and figures, and then some questions related to it. What would be the first thing you'd buy? What would a drawback be of winning 100 million? Well, you're 120 times more likely to die at the hands of a family member. Well, do you think the lotto is the same as gambling? Would you rather 50 million euro now or 1 million euro per year for the rest of your life? 50 million right now or 1 million for the rest of your life? Depends how old you are. But yeah, what do you think? Number 11, what charities or causes would you donate money to? So your job would be to download this workbook, to have a read of these stories here. There's 3 stories there. And then, obviously, on Thursday, we all get together and have the chats, a very informal conversation. Now, if you are not a member of the chats, but you're watching this video and you're thinking, wow, this is amazing, you can join. You can absolutely join the chats. Click shut up and take my money and I'll bring you to this form here. And if you sign up, you get full access to the chats. But wait, there's more. You also get full access to the Little Seal Library. The Little Seal Library. And let me show you what the Little Seal Library is. This, my friends, is the Little Seal Library. Now, you do not get access to this, quick and dirty. That's a special course. I'll talk about that another time. You get access to adjectives and prepositions. And you get access to all of these here. Different tutorials, different lessons, so on and so forth. All of that for $30 a month. Folks, if you want to join, cancel any time. Absolutely. But I'm not joking. If you join, you're absolutely going to learn real English. No bullshit here. No formal lessons. All real, natural, authentic English. I'd love to see you there. Hope you're happy. Hope you're healthy. Have a wonderful day. It is the long weekend in Canada, and I am going to go hang out with some friends for 2 days and then get back to the grindstone. Have a wonderful weekend, my friends. Bye for now.